What's up, everyone? It's the Barely Wise podcast, episode 10, I think. I'm pretty sure it's 10. Today, I am in a different studio with my dad. Dad, what's up?
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm here.
Good. Well, we decided we do it in, if you don't know, my dad's a professional podcaster.
Well, that's an overstatement.
He actually gets paid to do it, so he has a full-on studio. Check him out. Can I plug you real quick?
You can, yeah, I suppose.
Check him out. He's on YouTube and Stitcher.
Yeah.
Stitcher.
That's for the audio.
Right. So audio, or you could see the video with me, my brother, and my father. TerryWilson3.com on YouTube. It's pretty sick. So how are you doing today?
I am doing well.
Good.
Had a good day, and
you ate that
I ate my
carrot sandwich.
You didn't like my dinner?
It looked disgusting.
You don't like avocados?
Nah, I heard avocados taste similar to butt cheeks.
Well, I've never had butt, so I can't speak with any authority on that. But I have had avocados.
Good. That's great. So you've been watching a Beatle. I came in here and he was watching a Beatles documentary.
Yeah, it was on. There's supposedly some mystery as to the bass player of "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," and so this guy is sort of saying he's going to solve the mystery because normally Paul McCartney was the bass player,
right?
And so apparently there's some sort of
he had like
conspiracy around it. Was he the actual?
Or did he have like a ghostwriter, but as a bass player?
Well, like for instance, Eric Clapton came in and played the solo on that. Yeah. And it wasn't, I think, well known or publicized at the time, but now it's well known and publicized that he was the...
Really?
Yeah.
So could Eric Clapton play bass?
No, he played the guitar solo in, the Beatles, right. Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Ringo, and George Harrison.
Gotcha.
And, there's all kinds of conspiracies and rumors, and I'm not nowhere near a Beatles aficionado, so I cannot speak with any authority at all about the Beatles. So half of this I'm talking out my rear end.
You're just watching.
But I'm just watching it because I do enjoy their music and as a music fan. But like, for instance, one of the rumors I've heard growing up was a lot of the recordings of the Beatles wasn't actually Ringo.
Really?
But it was Paul McCartney going back in the studio and fixing the parts and actually playing it.
What?
Now, how true that is to the extent of that?
Like a myth.
Well, I do know this. There is a legend, and when I got to interview Tristan Bowden of Chicago, the drummer for Chicago, he even alluded to this. And there's a legend, how true it is or not, but there's this legend that they were being interviewed early on, and the interviewer asked the four of them, did they believe Ringo was the greatest drummer in the world at the time? And one of them scoffed and says, he's not even the best drummer in the band. Which sounds like, the sarcasm you would get in a group of guys.
Yeah. So do people still say, is there anybody that really believes that Ringo was the best drummer in the world?
I think it went through a time period where he got crapped on a lot.
Yeah.
But I think now it's people appreciate his style and some of the things he was able to do. I think in the 80s and 90s, when you had bands like Rush
or Led Zeppelin,
John Bonham from the 70s and Rush from the 70s, Neil Peart and all that.
Yeah.
There was, Bonham with that triplet pattern on the kick drum, and then Neil Peart's just incredible technical
he
ability.
Just sort of, and then the Nirvana comes out. And
Nirvana in the 90s, that grunge era. So
Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains.
Drums is one of those instruments that there's just been a ton of great drummers.
Right.
And so he got a lot of shade, because I think when people think of the Beatles, they think of a band that sort of broke the mold at the time because everything on the radio back then was just this rockabilly 145, simplistic music.
Right.
They started coming up with all these weird chord changes and structure, and then their harmonies. Paul McCartney is brilliant. John Lennon is brilliant.
Yeah.
George Harrison is brilliant in his own right. But you've got a band that's got McCartney and John Lennon in it. I mean,
right. Yeah.
So, I mean, you're going to get shade. You're going to get overshadowed.
Yeah. It's sort of like a Jimi Hendrix. It's not like today there's not music like it, but they sort of revolutionized the way the music
Hendrix
was played.
Changed the way the guitar was looked at.
Yeah. I mean, still to this day, because I would say my opinion now is John Mayer is the best guitar player to ever play. But at the same time, I don't know if John Mayer would play the way he plays if Jimi Hendrix didn't, come in.
I think Mayer is a culmination of a lot of influences.
Yeah.
The thing that makes John Mayer so attractive is he can sound like a Hendrix, but he can also sound like a Jimmy Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
He can sound like, a lot of these guys from the 70s and 80s. And on top of all of that, he's an incredible songwriter and singer.
Yeah.
I don't think you would even know about John Mayer if he couldn't sing or if his songs weren't.
Exactly. He was just really talented.
He's like a Carole King of modern times. Carole King and James Taylor, these singer-songwriters from the 60s, 70s. Like You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman was Carole King's big thing. And then You've Got a Friend and Carolina on My Mind, which was James Taylor, all of that stuff.
Right.
Singer-songwriter stuff. I think Mayer he's sort of in that vein.
Yeah, definitely. I love James Taylor.
Hooks.
Yeah, James Taylor has some really... How Sweet It Is a good one.
Yeah.
I remember we used to play that in church.
Yeah.
They started playing that in my work the other day, and a guy came in and was singing the lyrics really loud. So it just shows and he was an older guy.
A good song will last.
Oh, yeah.
In generation after generation, I think.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Because some of that stuff that came out in the 60s, that's before me, because I didn't start listening to music until the 80s.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of songs in the 60s and 70s I dig on. And
Definitely.
Just like you're listening to stuff from the 60s now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a good song's going to last
for a lifetime. So hopefully my kids will enjoy Grateful Dead. And, I do wish I grew up in the era where Staircase to Heaven played backwards. Everybody was like...
You missed the backmasking era part of Stairway to Heaven.
All the moms were trying to ban rock music because rock music is the devil's music and stuff like that. I watched it was a TED Talk talking about... It was basically on you're going to hear what you're told to hear in all aspects of life. So he played the clip that everybody knew about and listened, and he was like, guess the words. Nobody knew what the words were.
They told him what to hear,
Yeah, so once he put it on the screen, everyone was like, whoa, it's so clear now. It's just sort of it shows you in all aspects of life, you're going to recognize what you're already told to recognize.
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah, programming the brain. It's true.
Yeah. Just telling people if you tell people what they're going to see and hear beforehand.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why in courtrooms they call it leading the witness.
Yeah.
You got to ask the question. You don't give them the answer so they know how to answer it.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's
a lot of that goes on in.
It's interesting. It's weird though.
Different circles.
Yeah, definitely. So music's an odd thing. Definitely.
So how was your day?
Fantastic.
Woke
up at 1:30.
So you're up early. What'd you get up so early for?
I don't know.
The crack of noon.
And it was hard to get up. I still had another good 5-6 hours of sleep I could sleep in, but I was like, nah.
So you had it in you to go even more.
Right. I had the weirdest dream. Yeah, exactly. That's discipline right there. I had the weirdest dream through the night. I had a bunch of weird dreams. One of them was I was a cop. I became a cop, and I got fired the day of. I was in my police uniform, and when we were in the car, it was so vivid. Instead of like speed radaring people, I had a gun, and I would just aim at people. Oh, Dad's getting a call.
Yeah, let me mute that and say, I'm on the phone. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. But I was aiming my gun at every car that passed. Apparently that's frowned upon as a police officer. But yeah, I think I have it in me. I should be a cop. Definitely.
Yeah.
So I went back to my old job to apply, and went really well. I got to see everyone I used to work with, and everybody's still there and happy with it. The only thing that's gotten more stricter from what I've heard is that apparently food safety, they needed to cut down on, food portions and how you make the food and, being safe with it. Apparently all across the globe, food cost for these
it's gone crazy.
It's gone nuts.
So I imagine they're really tightening up on
portion control and everything like that.
They're going to watch every nugget and every fry you put on that plate.
God, exactly. So, I think that's what turned these companies into, not that they want to turn into these.
Well, food's gone crazy. I mean, at the place I worked at before, the price of mac and cheese it would come in a pan. So a pan of full mac and cheese used to be $10, and that was our most expensive item. It's like $25 now per pan of mac and cheese. It's like, that just makes sense. Why all these markups on food? The problem with increases on food, from my perspective, of a 46-year-old man has been around a minute or two, is a lot of things go up in prices and they come back down. Like gas will go up and it'll come back down.
Right.
Pricing of houses have gone up and come down. But I noticed this during Katrina. I don't know if you remember Katrina.
The hurricane,
when Bush was in office and everything. There was a big supply chain shortage that was going on. It put a squeeze on food prices. That was the first time I noticed food prices spike. And they never went down from that. When food prices go up, they never come back down. And I don't know why that is. I'm not an economist.
Right.
But I see all kinds of things go in and up and down, because of, the ebb and flow of the economy. But it just seems like that's one thing. If the price of milk goes up, it stays up. Now, it might flatline and not go up anymore for a while. But it just never seems to go back down.
Gosh. I saw a post yesterday. It was, I think 2009, and gas was $1.60.
Yeah.
Almost everywhere. And right now it's the cheapest I could find is a grocery store in Earth, and even them it's at like $3.15 now, which some of you from California, or if you're anywhere on the West Coast or up north, that's, that's
a deal.
That's a deal for you. But down here, we're not used to that.
Well, fuel prices have gone crazy, and I think that's got a lot to do with, decisions we've made.
Yeah. Do you think the inflation of gas and food and houses are ever going to come back down, or
I think a lot of things will normalize. Probably it's probably going to be another 2 or 3 years out.
Yeah,
but I don't know if food will ever go back down. Ironically enough, now's the time to be in debt. And what I mean by that is, for instance, like we've got this house here that we have a mortgage on.
Right.
Well, this house, just in a matter of a few months, has gone up exponentially as far as value, what we could sell it for. Now, is it a true win? No, because you buy in the same market you sell. So even though I'm gaining money because I owe this and now I can sell it for this, all of that money I made, I've got to buy something else. Well, the houses I'm going to be buying is inflated, so it's not really a win.
Insane.
But as you know, I'm a business owner. We've gone up on our prices because everything has gone up. But see, my debt has stayed the same.
Yeah.
So basically, in a perverse way, that's one of the advantages of having debt in an economy like this. It actually lowers the value of your debt.
Wow, that's true. I never even thought about it that way.
Yeah, because like if I'm in debt for $100,000,
right,
and what I own, let's say what I owned for that $100,000 was $150,000, and now because of this inflation, it's $200,000. It just made my debt to income ratio.
Right.
Right. So in a perverse way, it helps in that, and it's not really a help, but it diminishes the cost of your debt.
Wow. I mean, that's a good thing, definitely. It is. Do you think we'll have to go through another era of the 1920s? Because we're in the 20s now, and it looks like it's about to make a loop, or at the least a 2008 recession.
I'm not an economist. I don't know. I pray not. Yeah. I know there's conspiracies on both the left and the right about this big, massive reset.
Right.
And ironically, and in my opinion, sadly.
Mm.
A lot of people, both who are super, super liberal and super, super conservative, are all pulling for it. There's
Really?
and it's a weird time we live in. It's like no one's happy.
Yeah.
Absolutely no one from any political stripe is happy. And which I think that has a lot more to do with where we're at sociologically and psychologically as a people. I don't think our problem can be solved economically.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the problems we have are psychological, that is led from some spiritual dynamics or lack thereof.
Right. It's definitely tough. The annoying part, and I think we've talked about this before, is inflation will go up, but the last thing to go up is how much you're getting paid. Mm-hmm. And, there's studies everywhere. You'll find it anywhere where, in the 80s, you can work a job that's today $13, and our money today, and you could buy a house with $13 an hour, in that time, and I'm sure it was like $7 an hour. But now you can make $16-17 an hour, and it's a struggle to get rent for a apartment.
Yeah, I hear that, and I know that to a certain extent is true, but then as you know, I work in the recruiting space,
right?
And we either recruit people into our business to do a sort of an entrepreneurial type thing, or we recruit people to go get hourly and salary jobs, right? So that's sort of part of what we do. And I look at very rural communities that we go to church in, and I see out front in front of fast food restaurants hiring for $17 and $22 an hour, even though minimum wage hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Which tells me they're having to really, really compete just to get people in, because there is this huge mass exodus in the workforce. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you saw this. I'll send you the link. It's pretty funny. It's not funny. It's sad. But I don't know if you knew this. I just found this out. I watched this YouTube channel, and it's this lawyer, and all he talks about is case law and different things going on, specifically in the workforce and stuff like that.
Right.
And there is this, it's up in Wisconsin, and it's this hospital called, and I want to get it right for your podcast because I know your listeners tune in for exact data.
Exactly.
It's called Theta Care, ThedaCare. They are a hospital in Wisconsin, and they're suing their employees.
Their employees?
Their employees. Not all of them, just a group of them. And what is this group doing?
Not getting vaccinated.
Nope. It has nothing to do with the vaccine.
Really?
I'm not going to go that controversial. I know this I would not do that to your podcast.
I appreciate that. What did they do?
They want to go work for the hospital across town because the other hospital is willing to pay them more.
How dare they?
So they went to them and saying, hey, these folks over here are willing to pay us, whatever more it was, and give us these benefits. So we're turning in our notice, 2-week notice. Now, keep in mind that this is a right to work, which means they're not under contract. They don't have to be part of any type of union. They are not in a contract with that hospital that they've got to work 5 years before they can be released. Mm-hmm. They haven't signed what's called a non-compete clause, because there are companies like, for instance, you go to work for them and you learn all this information. You become a visible person in that industry.
Right.
They might make you sign a non-compete clause, which means you've got to wait 2 years before you can do another job like this if you leave them.
Wow.
Because they don't want to, and that's fair because they're putting you in this position to be exposed to all of these things, learn all these things, and they don't want to train their competition.
Yeah.
So that's fair. But this isn't the case. These are nurses.
So they don't have illegal.
They don't have any of that. And so they went to a judge and had the judge put in what's called an injunction, which means don't let them go until we can work this out. And so the judge actually put in an injunction. And so what they were hoping that they could do, since they blocked them from being able to go to work, they was hoping they could delay it to where they'd have to come back to work here.
Wow.
And I didn't realize this. The lawyer was bringing it up, but there is the 13th Amendment in the Constitution says you cannot compel people to work. A servitude, slavery is illegal. So they couldn't ask the judge to force them to go work because that's servitude.
Right.
That's slavery. You
Right.
can't. That's constitutionally.
Yeah.
People marched for that.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't do that. So they gave him the weekend, and the judge came back and he says, "We gotta remove the injunction and so now they let the workers leave." But that just tells you, to me, yes, there are some, the laws haven't kept up with maybe the demand on but gosh, if you want to make extra money.
Yeah.
And that's why, I was telling you were talking about some of the experiences you were having at different places of employment.
Right.
And not getting involved, not mentioning names, not making any judgments. But I would tell anybody that employs people, now's the time to let your people know how much you appreciate them.
Yes. Because
it's a what they call a buyer's market. You are out shopping for jobs, buying jobs. It's anybody that's looking for work. Now's the time to earn what you want and do what you want, because there's just people are begging when you're in Rutherford County. Okay, and I'm not throwing shade, but that's where we're from.
If anybody knows of Rutherford County, you understand what we're saying. Even if you live there, you understand what we're saying.
It's typical rural America. I mean, it's nothing. It's just rural, nothing different. And a fast food, the Sonic, is willing to pay anywhere from $17 to $22 an hour to work a drive-through. Then
that's crazy.
If I'm over at the McDonald's or the Burger King or the Chick-fil-A or the Waffle House and I've got a good employee, I am going to go over backwards to take care of that person
and make sure they know they're cared for.
Make sure they're cared for. It just doesn't make sense to do otherwise.
It really doesn't. And I try to speak lightly because I don't have any experience with being a boss or owning anything. But from my low perspective, I would think the last thing you should do is to make all these rules that aren't necessary, that aren't, because I would get, or food costs, that's totally understandable. Even though I might not like it, totally understandable. But when you make rules about how you can speak, how you can walk, how you can talk, and it's more than just food safety or anything like that, it really doesn't make you feel appreciated.
I think people, I know I am. I don't know if you're this. Oh, I know you are this way because you're my son. But and people in general, no one likes arbitrary rules.
Yeah.
It's just arbitrary. It's just like, if there's and everybody wants to be communicated, because what is communication? Communication is showing that other person value and showing them respect and showing them that their opinions, thoughts, and feelings matter.
Yeah.
And when you just arbitrarily say this, and this, that's fine if you can get away with it. But I'm just telling, man,
in this day and age,
my clients, when I'm coaching and counseling business owners and stuff, this isn't that day is not today.
Yeah. Not at all.
In negotiation, we call it leverage. And right now, you don't have the leverage to be able to conduct yourself in such a way.
There's from what I know, there's not enough benefits. There's not enough money there to be treated the way some employers like to treat. But I think they'll learn in time. Of course, I don't want to say it's impossible to get a job to pay rent or anything like that. It's hard. It's hard. Would you say it's harder today to get an entry-level job to survive than it was, let's say, 20, 30, 40 years ago?
No. To be honest with you, I know that's not politically correct or popular.
Right.
But it's my opinion.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah, you have the right.
And I know people disagree with me. And I think this generation, in my opinion, has way more opportunity than people my generation had coming up. For example.
That's fair.
For example, I am a poor, white, Southern, uneducated male in the 9th poorest county in America, not the state, in America. And my opportunity, and I'm not saying woe is me, by the way, that's not
right.
But I'm saying, what's my opportunity? It's very limited. I don't come from money. I don't come from anything, it had Terry Wilson grown up in the exact same community from the exact same family. But in this time period, there's one big difference. Internet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot more opportunities.
The world, it doesn't matter where you're at. The world is right there on your phone.
Yeah.
On your laptop. I can connect to anyone in the world.
Yeah.
I can see what's going on. I can shop around.
Not only that, the market is so easy to find. A market for any specific product.
Back then, you were sort of pigeonholed to the corner of the world you lived in.
Right.
I mean, if you only had $40 in your account,
yeah,
and gas was even though gas was 89 cents a gallon, how far would that take you, and where do you go?
Yeah,
to get that opportunity, to find that.
Right.
The only thing around me was fast food and cotton mill, which is, there's not cotton mills in this area anymore. But back in those days, you either went and worked for the mill, which was very, very, very laborsome work.
I bet.
Very hard work. And just so you know I'm talking to a young fella here, and people that are listening to your podcast are thinking I'm probably Mr. Old Fuddy Duddy or whatever, but I'll give you a little insight. When you see people my age and up cop attitudes with younger generations, keep in mind, it's not to dismiss the pain, the struggle, the things you're going through at all, because it's real. It's just different.
Yeah,
it's just different.
Yeah, definitely.
But what my generation hears is here's someone that has the entire world at their hands,
right?
Opportunity all around them. I mean, before we came on tonight, you had a wonderful Mexican meal.
Yeah.
By one push of a button brought to you.
Yeah, it was good.
I grow up, okay, and we're eating out of soup cans or something because mom and dad work all day.
Right.
So you don't have, it's just, so older people are looking at the context of their life.
Yeah.
And seeing the context of someone else's life, and they're like, what are you bitching about?
Yeah. Definitely.
So I think everybody needs to be patient.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be patient with one another. My generation needs to be patient with your generation in the fact that we didn't have all the stuff coming at us that you guys do.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if I had someone in school that thought I was an asshole or thought I was this or that or didn't like me, 9 times out of 10, I wouldn't even know about it.
Right.
You guys know what everybody thinks about everything.
Exactly.
And sometimes that's not good.
It can be awful.
It's not mentally healthy.
No. If you do something wrong or you make a mistake, everybody in your school, somehow, they don't even have to know you, but they are going to know what you did. It's crazy hanging out with people from my generation because they can look at anybody and know their backstory, know
everything,
all from social media.
We were going down the road and your sister was talking about how when she goes on someone's account, she goes back, looks at 3, 4, 5 years ago, and this and that. And it never occurred to your mother and I to even do something. Oh, why would? Well, I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
I mean, it's just easy. Like, I could go back for you. I could go back to 2010, 2011 to see what you were thinking on July 31st.
You can go back 100 pounds ago.
Yeah, exactly. I could. It's easy to go back and see how people have changed. And
but the old cliche is ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Generation was ignorant of what other people thought, of what we were ignorant of what was going on 40 miles from us because we didn't have constant news.
Exactly. And that's the hard part is because I think when you were growing up, every opinion was within your circle.
It was our little circle.
It was your circle. I can hear the opinion of somebody in Australia, somebody in California, somewhere in Vermont. You hear everyone's opinion and it's like, well, damn, what do I choose? Like, what's the right opinion? Because everyone thinks they're right.
And so what we've done, in my opinion, is we've put young people in this situation to where we've given them loaded guns and not taught them how to hold it,
how to load it,
where to go to the firing range and practice. We haven't taught you have been given so much information to process emotionally, spiritually, intellectually.
Yeah.
I mean, you're being exposed to, listen, when I came up, it never occurred to me to think there was no God.
Yeah.
I mean, just go there for a minute.
Yeah.
It never occurred to me to think there's no such thing as God.
Yeah.
I don't know of anybody in your generation that
doesn't have doubts.
It doesn't have doubts.
Right.
And why and I think it's great to, as a Christian, to examine why you believe what you believe and not to believe based on something. I get all that. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I know it's not, but just simple things like that. The way we view life.
Yeah. It's definitely gotten harder.
Our whole reality.
Yeah.
Your reality goes through this thing, these filters of social media and society and all of this. And you are having to intentionally focus on what's true. I didn't have to. It didn't take a lot of intellectual or emotional energy on my part to accept reality.
Yeah.
You have to fight for
exactly
what is real and what's not.
Exactly.
Because there's just so much BS.
Because at the time I was 14, the harsh part about the internet is there's no censorship. There's nobody caring about what you're going to hear.
Not that I think there should be. But
No, yeah, me neither. But,
Go Joe Rogan.
By the time I was 13, 14, I knew the Mexican cartel was a thing. I knew that they chopped people's heads off, and you see videos of
oh my gosh,
the kids and their dads.
I didn't even know about the Mexican cartel until about 5 or 6 years ago. I probably learned of it at the same time you did.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's just
because of Netflix.
There's just, you think about all over the world. They're like, the KGB is such a scary thing because they're like an official governmental sort of thing, like a militia. I don't know if they're actually in arms with the government, but these are people who are like the police, but the evil police. If they don't like what you posted, they go to your house and they chop off your limbs and they kill your girlfriend and they do whatever. It's like, damn, it shows you the world is a dark place.
But see, and it is, and it always has been.
Right.
But the difference is, it's not ever until recent history just been incessantly put in front of you.
Yeah.
You're constantly having to see the worst of the worst. And it's skewed. On top of that, it's very skewed because it's not like there's not great things going on.
Yeah.
It's not like
that's not attractive.
It's not like someone that I went to the gym day didn't just smile at me, open the door and say, "So good to see you." Yeah. And it wasn't like that someone just didn't come up to me last week and almost bring me to tears because they were talking about some things that was going on and thanking me for. It's not like, but see, that don't make the news.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly.
That don't make that because it doesn't sell.
No,
it doesn't get clicks. It doesn't.
I think Jordan Peterson has talked about this before, but it's just, I don't know. It's hard to. Good things don't get clicks, like you said. It's just darkness sells,
and it doesn't matter if you are the most optimistic person. I really don't think, and he's talked about this, but you can be. I feel like, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I'm a pretty optimistic person as far as upbeat.
I definitely think you are.
I always try to see the good, and but I don't think appreciating all of the darkness and the heaviness isn't a personality thing. And I think it's, Peterson talks about it being an evolutionary thing because we're conditioned to have to be worried about the tiger in the jungle.
Yeah.
We survived as a species because we're predisposed to understand there's something out there that wants to eat me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just in our DNA. That's just in our makeup. And so that's not a person. I'm I'm a motivational speaker over here.
Right.
That's what I do. But I recognize that there's stuff to be concerned about. So how much more can the society we have created bring a lot of people to a lot of heaviness?
Yeah. Yeah. When
they are already maybe predisposed to being a little on the more melancholy side to start with.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I have to be intentional, man. And so I said all that to say my generation needs to be more patient with the younger generation because yes, that kid's got that iPhone and sneakers and it's got on demand anything they want. They don't have the hardship maybe that we came up with, because they got a lot of modern amenities that we never, but they have a lot of emotional and psychological pressure that we never was put under.
Right.
You know, and that's why you hear old fuddy-duddies like me saying, y'all need to go outside and play.
Yeah.
Just get on your bike, get away from electronics and just complain. Because truthfully, you'd be happier for it.
Oh yeah. No, it's honestly one of my favorite topics, just about, and this is a bit controversial, so I hope this doesn't offend anyone.
Oh, go ahead.
But
oh yeah, well, you're already, you don't worry about offending me. You already offended me.
What I sort of believe is, we were never made to stay inside all day, and I think a lot of people agree.
I agree with that.
Just from an evolutionary standpoint, it's because in a sense, I believe we're animals. In a sense, like, we're conscious and self-aware animals. We're the smartest of our species, but still, in a way, we are built to hunt, fight, all this. But today, everything is, you want food, click this glass, you touch this glass anytime, and you get anything you want, pretty much. You want drugs, alcohol, food, porn, whatever, it's all at the touch of this glass. So all of the dopamine that should be coming from hunting or finding something or fighting something, it's just so easy to get nowadays. So I definitely understand what you're saying about, we need to sort of put ourselves in other people's shoes to understand.
You remember the show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yes, I love that show.
Do you like that show?
I love that show.
Remember what's his name?
Uncle Phil?
Uncle Phil and his wife.
Yeah.
She said something so profound one time on that show. She said, Phil, we have worked so hard to give our kids what we never had coming up that we forgot to give them what we did have. And what she was talking about is the struggle.
Damn.
The struggle, people don't realize, but the struggle is just a part of the gift of life as the reward. And what you're talking about, being able to get anything at the touch of a button to get that dopamine hit. Yeah. Reward without the struggle leads to some bad places, physically, emotionally, spiritually.
Absolutely.
You know, and I've had to learn this, and you've watched me in my own physical life the last year and a half. I have been overweight since you've known me. And, you know, in just the last year and a half, I've taken my health serious because I never liked the struggle there. Just didn't. No, who likes the struggle? But
yeah, exactly.
Now when I reward myself with that steak or whatever, you know, I'm getting rewarded the right way after the struggle.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, it's talked about all the time in clinical psychology, but you need darkness to see lightness. And I think if we were always just happy, then it would be sort of sad in a way. Like, we'd be like, whatever. Like, it's just whatever.
What is happiness without sadness?
Exactly. So I think you have to really go through the tough and dark times to really cherish the happy times and be like...
And you start realizing that, then some of those big questions that we ask start to make more sense.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Why is all the suffering in the world?
Right.
Because what brings pleasure if there's no suffering?
Yeah.
What brings bliss if there's no absolute?
Yeah. I don't think we'd cherish life if we didn't know we were going to die.
Why would you?
Yeah. I think it's what it makes life.
Death is what brings value to life.
Yeah.
If you lived forever, then why would you even get up tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely. It's a good philosophy to have.
Yeah.
Definitely is. What time are we at?
I've got 8 minutes.
8 minutes. We're at 8 minutes?
We're 8 minutes till 7.
Oh, sorry. I was like, we only been doing this for 8 minutes? What the hell?
I don't know. I didn't click here. I'm recording.
Oh yeah, that's all good. That's all good. Well, we can wrap it up here, but thanks everybody for listening. Thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me. I hope I didn't bore you to death.
Thank you for letting me come in your office and use it for a second. But no, it was
you can use this anytime, even if I'm not here.
Good.
It might make it easier on you.
Probably, honestly, but
it's sort of already set up for this, so that way you don't have to.
It's sort of like someone who does the podcast in our house. I didn't have to set it up. Well, this was a really good conversation. I appreciate it. Yeah. And thanks for coming on. And thank you everybody for listening. And have a good one.